transition for what you may call, it was kind of difficult for students to transition from attempting a paper that is, where you're allowed to use the calculator, and all of a sudden you're told not to use the calculator. So that transition was difficult as well. What we're going to do, the aim of, the classes is also going to be to, make sure that you guys are comfortable in that paper two, or you can say non-calculator zone. It needs to be equally comfortable as compared to paper four as well. And I believe I was telling this to Bisma yesterday, where we talked about, how to reduce the dependency on the calculator. Make sure that it's further assistance for you. You're trying to use the calculator to get to the right answer. You're trying to, check your answers and whatnot and solve whichever question is unsolvable without the calculator. But for no amount of time, you should not, the calculator shouldn't become a crutch. Essentially, you should not be. It shouldn't be the case that you're unable to do anything without the calculator. Clear, guys? Yasim, Bisma, Abiha, Wen. Any
Yes,
questions after this point? Also, Abhihab, since you're sitting in for your demo class, wherever you don't get anything, I want you to, stop me right there and, ask if you don't get anything. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So obviously, when we go through questions regarding non-calculator and the calculator paper, we will indefinitely see, you guys will, notice the difference as well, how the paper is different. The non-calculator paper is indefinitely going to be different from the calculator. Having said that, more or less, it will have the same structure. Structure how so? 2 hours, 100 marks. And the weightage is 50%. Now, this is extremely important for people to understand. Somehow, there is this misconception among the students that since this is a non-calculator paper or this is perhaps calculator, maybe this has a higher weightage than paper 2. No. Both papers are, first and foremost, both papers are individual of each other. They're irrespective of each other. Your performance in paper 2 does not determine your performance in paper 4, as well as your performance in paper 4 does not determine your performance in paper 2. Similarly, the questions that came in paper 2 do not determine the questions that will perhaps come in paper 4. There's this another misconception that exists, is that, if paper 2, let's say, had a vector question, students are of the impression that paper 4 will not have a vectors question because of the fact that we already did it in paper 2. Somehow they think that the two papers are linked. Yes, there is a link, but not to that extent. The papers are completely independent in terms of their content, in terms of their, which topics or from which topics you're going to have the questions from. At the same time, if the papers were not independent of each other, guys, the syllabus would have that division. The examiner or, your exam board would simply write at the top of your syllabus that this is the syllabus content for paper 2, this is the syllabus content for paper 4. That is not the case. The examiner hasn't mentioned it. It's a generic syllabus for both papers. Hence, each and every topic which is eligible to, show up in your paper can show up in paper 2. Perhaps if you're lucky enough, similar questions from paper 2 and paper 4 might come. The only difference is one is just a calculator paper and the other one is a non-calculator paper. And at the same time, equal weightage. So, for example, if you seem to think that perhaps if I could score poorly in paper 2 and I can get full marks in paper 4, it won't do you a lot of justice because of the simple fact that your grade is 50% of both. So if you're trying to get an A star, you at least have to score A's in both. If you're getting a U in one paper and perhaps full marks in the other, you'll still land at around a C or a B, because the examiner is not going to look at one paper's performance. They're not going to scrutinize just one paper. They'll be marking both papers, and they'll be marking both papers in the same threshold, 50-50%. Is this clear, Abiha and Bisma? Jason?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Now, it says over here that the questions are structured and unstructured. Can anyone tell me what does that mean? Yes, guys. What's the difference between this? They're saying structured and unstructured. What's the and why has the examiner or whoever made the syllabus, why did the exam board especially mention this? Like, why was there a need to mention this? Couldn't we just have opened up a past paper and see it from it? So surely they've mentioned it. That means that it's important. Secondly, what do you guys think it means? Yes, let's start with you then. What do you think it means then? Structured and unstructured questions.
I'm not
Like what's
sure,
this?
sir.
Okay, like but still, like what's your first impression? Like for example, normally if you're at school and a teacher puts up a test in front of you, normally the teacher is like, there are MCQs and then there are structured questions. What do we mean by structured questions? Any idea? Yes, then.
The question is clear or something?
Okay, the question is clear. I understand. Yes, Biswa, what do you think? Whenever a question is structured, what do we mean by that?
It means that like the questions has like different like smaller parts that like kind of guide you to the solution. Like for example, it asks you to first like find the area and then like find the area of maybe a rectangle and then find the area of the other for example rectangle. So it like kind of guides you through the question.
Yes, Bisma, that is spot on. Yes, guys, Bisma is absolutely right. A structured question is it's kind of like divided into parts where each and every part provides a structure to the question in the sense that they tell you what to do. How so? I've already scribbled over here. Question number 1 has an A part worth 2 marks, and the A part will be direct. It will be like calculate the gradient of a line, calculate the whatever from the entire syllabus. It can come from any chapter. Then again, the examiner has not specified from which chapter they will give structured and from which chapter they will give unstructured questions. So we can't really judge that either. At the same time, there is a structure in this question. How? You are being confined to 4 parts, A, B, and C, and D, where all 4 parts are going to be linked to each other. And in order to get to B, you will perhaps have to solve A first. Normally, it happens, I believe it happens a lot more in sciences, that they say use your answer in part A to get to part B or something like that. Perhaps you guys know better than I do. But this is normally how it happens in a paper. If it's a part C or if it's a part D, they're more dependent on A and B. Clear, guys? Any questions regarding this? Yes, Abiha, Jasim, Zain, Bisma. Anyone who has any questions up to this point?
It's all clear.
That is excellent. So that's a structured. Yes, Jasim, what do you think is an unstructured question? Now I think it will be easier for you to define.
Like it doesn't have parts. We have free flowing questions.
Free flowing question. The question flows out of the page,
No, like
spills
it's a
over onto the other page. What do you mean by a free flowing question?
like it doesn't have parts to like guide you. Just gives a question that we have to solve.
Okay. Abiha, do you agree with Jasim?
Sir, yes.
Are you just saying that to
Sir, I have
escape
no
from
idea what is unstructured question.
you? Okay, no worries. So very simply, you need to understand that did you understand structured questions, Abiha?
Yes, sir.
Okay. An unstructured question is obviously it's going to be the opposite of a structured one, where instead of giving you 4 parts worth 2 marks each, so that the entire question is worth 8 marks. The examiner gives you a long statement where there are certain hints or, whatever properties are mentioned, data is given to you, and the examiner gives the entire question for 8 marks and tells you to, knock yourself out. Attempt whatsoever you want, do it yourself. That is where this question becomes unstructured. Why? Because the examiner is not providing you a structure to work with. The examiner is not telling you, okay, do this first, then solve B, then solve C, and then solve D. In these unstructured questions, you have to think on the spot. You have to, it's kind of similar to what you may call AO2, analysis, interpretation, and communication mathematically, where sometimes you have to analyze a problem, identify a suitable strategy to solve it, include a combination of processes as well. So in these type of unstructured questions, it's kind of like you're the master of your own plan. You're trying to the final answer, and the entire structure that is also being devised by you. Clear, guys? Now, then again, a lot of students ask me, this is a very popular question, which one of these two are easier to solve? That would probably pop up in your head. Then again, difficulty is always relative. Difficulty is always relative in the sense that what I find difficult, probably Abiha does not. What Abiha finds difficult, probably Basma thinks is a piece of cake. Whatever Basma finds difficult, someone else could, struggle with it. So this is relative. This question, the structured bit, has its own pros and cons. Same goes for question number 2, essentially the unstructured question. That has its own pros and cons. We've seen students struggle with these questions more. Students who score below the A grade, score below the B grade, or you can say that students who do not have a profound understanding of the content itself. They're mostly students who based their entire practice on memorization rather than, trying to understand the content. They seem to struggle with unstructured questions because they seem to struggle with providing the structure themselves. They like to be what we call spoon-fed by the examiner. But there's a disadvantage of attempting question number 1 as well. Why? If you get part A wrong and you fail to realize that your part A is wrong, and if B, C, and D are linked with part A, you're dead. Regardless of how better you solved part A, regardless of how you knew how to solve it and whatnot, you're still dead. Because that part A is linked with B. So if you got A wrong, you got B wrong. B is wrong, therefore definitely C and D will not survive. Abiha and Bisma and Yasin. Any questions up to this point? Yes, guys. Please no passing out in class, guys. Yes, Abiha. Are you awake?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Any questions regarding this, Abiha?
No, sir.
Well, the rest, I trust them that if they have a question, they will feel free to ask me, right? I don't think I have to bug you guys over and over again. Right, guys? Okay. So that sort of like, summarizes how the paper structure is built. Now, this is extremely important. Before the syllabus, I have yet to teach a word since our class our classes have started since yesterday, but we haven't really gone through the content. The primary reason for that is it's better to, jump into a battlefield prepared rather than, just blindly going at the content. Content is easy. That's the easier bit. I still say that just going through the content, that is easy. That's just, your ability to memorize a few formulas, retain information, whatnot. What's difficult is to apply that information. And that application is going to happen over here. And through what? The application is going to happen through assessment objectives. How the examiner is going to assess you guys. Clear? So any questions up to this point? And also at the same time, I am under the impression that everyone is giving the extended assessment. The core people are different. You know that, right? So everyone here is from the extended assessment. I know for Bisma, Zain, and Jasim, they are the extended assessment, but Abiha, I believe you two are from the extended assessment as well. Right? Do you know about that, Abiha?
No, sir.
Well, essentially, okay. The difference between the two is, Abiha, this is for people who do not like the core assessment students are those who will not get a grade above C. So for people who just want to clear IGCSE math for the sake of doing math, since it's a compulsory subject in IGCSEs, for the sake of doing it, those, do this. But for anyone else, like 95% of the time, people do extended assessment. Core is just built for, it's kind of like remedial math. Clear, Abhiya? So I do believe that you will be from the extended assessment. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Also, Abhiya and Jasim and Zain, you guys are here new. I want you to download the latest copy of the syllabus, this one, the one for exams in 2025, 26, and 27. You guys will be the last exam series before the syllabus changes. I know that sounds like a big deal, but the syllabus literally changes every 3-4 years. So, not really a big deal. Clear? What was the biggest deal was the shift from 2024 to 2025, where paper 2 became non-calculator. These are your topics, but before we go through these,